Welcome to the Panic Button. I'm Nina.
I'm Jessie. Today we're reacting to a tweet, or an X post, with TED Talk where a transgender woman discusses biological men being denied entry to the bathroom, leading to suicide rates increasing.
There you go. We got it.
Did that work?
time.
For most of you, using a public bathroom is pretty straightforward. You have the urge to go. You get up and walk into a designated restroom, no questions asked. You do your business, hopefully wash your hands, and continue on your day. However, for the transgender community, that isn't always the case. In the past year, 16 states have considered restricting bathroom usage to biological sex at birth. These bills, in essence, will ban the transgender community from using the restroom of which they identify with. And if you choose to go against these laws and get caught, you will be fined and in some instances, even imprisoned.
I can't stand the way they're speaking. Just saying. Hang on. Get caught. Which means that if you look enough like a woman to be in the woman's facility and are respective of the facility, why would you get caught?
I guess you wouldn't.
Vice versa, if you look like a man, you're using the men's facilities, nobody can spot it. Would you get caught? Or is this a bill being put in place to stop the people that are actually predatory?
Taking advantage.
If you're respectful and can just respect the environment and the women in the environment, who cares? I mean, just respect the environment, respect the people there. But there are people who are taking advantage.
There are people who are walking in as if it's their right and disrespecting biological women.
And the
who are in the
facilities
bathroom.
by stickering things up and doing things such as
Taking photos and posting them online.
making other people uncomfortable. And so I understand that it might hurt because now the world knows that you're not this gender you want to be presenting as. However, it's uncomfortable for women, and there's a lot of people taking advantage. You make laws to prevent the few people who take advantage. Are you going to go rob a bank? No. Is it illegal to still rob a bank? Yeah.
What?
Are you going to go rob a bank?
No.
But is it illegal to rob a bank?
Yes.
Do they make that law because everyone's going to go rob a bank?
No.
Because of the select few who are going to try and rob a bank.
Yeah, it's not putting barriers into place in order to weed out the people who will use the loophole in order to take advantage of women.
It's the same reason it's illegal to go into a store and take the money out of the register. Just because you can overpower someone doesn't mean you should be allowed to.
To push these unjust bills forward, conservative foundations have been running TV ads depicting men going into women's restrooms to harass women and children. They claim that by allowing transgender people to use the restroom of which they identify with, it will enable men to legally go in and harass women and children in the restroom. The facts, anti-discrimination protections covering gender identity have been around for years, and there is no evidence to suggest that they lead to attacks in public facilities. The disappointing truth about these bills, they really only hurt the transgender community, which is already striking out. In a study done by the Williams Institute, it was found that 42% of transgender women age 18 to 96 will attempt suicide in their lifetime.
Anti-discrimination laws. Okay, so the law that says men can't go into a woman's bathroom, biological men, that's not a discrimination law, that's a safety law. That's protecting women. That's it. We don't, like you said, the bank robbers things, we don't make laws against people robbing banks. Like, it's not an anti-discrimination bank robber.
Yeah, you're not against robbers.
Like,
you're not against all
it's-
robbers. But the thing is, it is discriminatory by definition because you're saying this is different from this. Like these are not the same. That's discrimination. But within the law's boundary, discrimination is refusing services or goods or something because of this discriminatory reason. And I understand that gender comes into play with that for some reason. However, they're not denying you service. They're not saying you can't use the bathroom. They're asking you to use the other restroom or use the family facility handicap stalls that they've provided for families and people in wheelchairs. It's not rocket science.
It concerns me that I don't ever hear the opposing argument. Like, I never hear the argument from trans men that they're upset that men don't want them to use their bathroom. It all comes down to women's safety. Men can overpower a trans man any day of the week because it's a biological woman. If a biological man who says he's a woman goes into the woman's restroom, like 98% of the time he's going to be able to dominate that woman regardless of his size, unless he's a little person. So,
Oh my God.
So this is just about women's safety.
It was found that 42% of transgender women age 18 to 96 will attempt suicide in their lifetime. For transgender men, the rate is even higher at 46%. If that statistic isn't bad enough, I have one more to show you. For transgender individuals who have been denied equal access to bathrooms at work, there is a 59% suicide rate. These bills cause unjust hardship on the transgender community.
But also, don't worry, because if you're non-Hispanic and white, you have a 17.4% higher chance of committing suicide. If you're multiracial, you have a 9.7% chance of committing suicide. If you're Hispanic, you have a 7.9%. So if you're white, you're 10% more likely, roughly, than a Hispanic person to commit suicide if you are white. So, like...
This is just race and ethnicity. It's not taking into consideration whether they're man, woman, trans, or whatever. I don't like it when they overgeneralize rates based on the fact that you won't let a dude use the female restroom. That's a pretty ridiculous statement to make. Because you won't let this mentally ill man who thinks he's a woman into the female restroom, he's going to kill himself. That's the most ridiculous argument I've ever heard. One of. Because that's a toddler's way of trying to justify doing something that's not right. I mean, this is about women's safety. It's not about trans people. It's about the safety of women. It's about men, biological men, people with penises, yes, people with penises in female restrooms. It is about the safety of women, safety of little girls.
The biological women are more suicidal than the biological men. Trans women have a lower suicide rate than trans men, right? But men make up 80% of the suicide rates.
Well, can you imagine being a biological woman, believing that you're a man, and putting yourself in male spaces? The trans women don't even want to go in the male spaces. The trans men are going to go into the male spaces. Most of them are very small framed. I would be more afraid for the trans man's safety than I ever would for a trans female. Sorry. Not sorry. Trans women are stronger than women. This is reality. It's like people breathe oxygen. Water is wet.
I'm just checking out these stats because it's just very interesting to me. When everyone's talking so negatively about white men, are you surprised that they're the second most likely to kill themselves? The only one above them is Native Americans and, like, Alaskans, but they live in Alaska.
Well, if you think about it this way, white men, for the most part, are getting the most hate in America. So, obviously, they're going to be because, like, everyone hates them, right? Now you're mentally ill and you think you're a woman.
Also, real quick, why does everything say non-Hispanic? Hispanic's not a place. American Indian, that's a place. Alaska, that's a place.
I'm really surprised that this was a TED Talk. Like, who let this person on the stage? Who decided this was a good idea? Hey, you know what? Let's do a TED Talk where we inform everybody that if we don't let biological men into women's restrooms, that they're going to kill themselves.
It's the people who are against the bills passing.
We're not saying that all trans people are predators. We're saying that people will use loopholes to do bad things. Because let's just accept the fact that some people can be bad, okay? We have to live in a world where we understand that people can be bad. And we need to protect ourselves. If we're just going to allow anyone to do anything at any time, we're all going to die.
That's why you put, like you said, preventative measures in place for the few that will take advantage.
Exactly. I mean, why do you lock your doors at night? Do you think everyone's going to try to break in your house? No, it's for the select who might try to.
Or the one night someone else might try.
We want men out of women's spaces and sports. Like and subscribe.